you're going to start on the pink page, so everyone go to the pink page. So the pink page looks like this. Okay? These are what we call inequality symbols. You have seen 2 of them for many, many, many years. What are the 2 that you have seen for many years, everyone? Good. Those 2 don't change, but I'm adding 2 more to your list of inequalities. What are the 2 that I'm adding? Good. So you have your less than sign, and they add the line down below it. That means equal to. They added half of your equal to sign. So it's greater than or equal to or less than or equal to. Okay, here's what I mean by that. Okay, let's open. So let's reverse. Actually, what we're going to do first is first thing we are going to learn how to write inequalities because there is a very specific way. Remember how, thank you, Cole. Remember how I did not care if you wrote like 3 equals x or x equals 3? Didn't care the order which you wrote it, right, guys? Inequalities matter. Okay, inequalities matter. So order matters. Okay, you must have the variable first. Have to, have to, have to. So when we come here and I have my less than sign, we could have a phrase that says Kim has less than $50. Bless you. So Kim has less than $50. Okay? I have to have a variable. What do you think my variable is in this problem? What is it? Kim. My variable's Kim. She's the person we're talking about. Remember, I don't care what letter you choose. As long as you choose a letter, I'm going to choose K because Kim starts with a K. So Kim is my variable. K is my variable because I'm talking about Kim. Have to have a variable. You still also have to have a number. What's my number? So I have a 50. What's my key phrase? Now, we've seen less than before. What does less than mean previous lessons? It's a subtraction sign, isn't it? Okay, so how do I know not to put a subtraction sign here? Okay, she has less than $50. Does that make sense to say K minus 50? No. Also, we know we're talking about inequalities, right? So if we know we're talking about inequalities right away, that should be like, oh, greater than or equal to, less than or equal to. So when it says less than, all you have to do is put a less than sign in the middle. And that's all you have to do. You just have to write it just like that. There's no plus signs, there's no minus signs, we're not multiplying, we're not dividing, we're not doing any of that. Eventually you will have to. But right now we are just writing this. Any questions on that? Now, less than is not the only word that technically means less than. There are other words that I could replace less than with. So what could I replace the phrase less than with that still means less than? Nope, less than or equal to is completely different. That's because that's a different symbol, different inequality sign. Nathan? Lower than. I could replace the phrase less than with lower than, and it still means a less than symbol. Ethan? No, because that would still mean subtraction. Below. I could replace it with below. Eli? Under. I could replace it with under. Luke. Yep. I already have less than. Anderson. What? Beneath, yes. Sam? Smaller than. I have one more that I want to write. Luke? No? Anyone else think of one? Eli? Well, I have under, so if you saw that, that would kind of be the same. Fewer than. Any of those words, if you see them, it means a less than symbol. Questions on that? Okay, let's go to greater than because that's the other one that we are most familiar with. What is another phrase that means greater than? What are some other phrases that mean greater than? Luke? More than. Someone else tell me. Ethan? Bigger. So I get a bigger than. Eli? Larger than. Mark? That's okay. Ruby? Above. Nathan? Over. Anderson? Higher than. All right, we're going to leave our list at that. So if you see any of those words in a sentence, they mean a greater than symbol. Meaning, here's my example. Kim has more than $50. So my variable is still a K because we're talking about Kim. My number is still 50 because that's the only number that I see. And what's my keyword, everyone? More than. And more than means what symbol, everyone? So we put a greater than symbol. So K is greater than 50. When I say both of those, when I say K is less than 50, Kim has less than 50, can she have $50? No. If it's less than 50, she cannot have $50. She can have $49.99, but she can't have $50. Does that make sense, guys? If I say she has more than $50, can she have $50? No, she can have $50 in one sense, but she cannot have $50. Is that understood? That is where the equal to ones come into play. Those mean it can be equal to $50 because of that equal to sign. You have to have the equal to sign in order to be equal to that number. Otherwise, it is not equal to. Please stop talking while I am. Okay, so let's go to this less than or equal to one. These are words that you guys have probably seen at some time, but you never really thought much about. So I could use the word less than or equal to, but there are some other more common phrases or words that you'll see used more often that mean less than or equal to. What do you think, Anderson? No more than. Excellent. Eli. At most. Excellent. Ruby. Say that again. I couldn't hear you. No, because that would be just, I think, just that one number. Jack? Maximum. Excellent. Luke? Well, no more than and no less than are opposite, so I can't have both. Instead of the word more there, guys, what other word could I replace more with? No bigger than. No larger than. No greater than. That doesn't make sense. I missed one, greater. I could replace more with the words bigger, larger, higher, greater, and it would still mean the same thing. So all of those words that we see mean less than or equal to. So my example, Kim has a maximum of $50. Okay, we are still talking about Kim, so our variable is still a K. There's still the number 50, so I still have the 50. What is my keyword in this problem? Okay, so when I say maximum, okay, if that is one where you're not right away off the top of your head being like, oh, it's less than or equal to, think about it. You have a maximum of $50, okay? Can you have more than $50 or less than $50? So if you can have less than 50, you put a less than sign. Can you have $50? So if you can, that's then when you add the equal to sign. Nope, just one. That's okay. So it is just one line. So that is how I would break it down if like you're on a quiz or a test or something like that and you're like, you can't remember if it's a greater than sign or a less than sign. Make it make sense. Put it in the real world. What makes sense? Can I have more than it? Can I have less than that? Is it equal to it? Is it not equal to it? Okay. Last one. Are greater than or equal to. What words or phrases could mean greater than or equal to, Caroline? No less than. Cole. Minimum. Peyton. At least. Cole. We have that one. Luke? No smaller than. So I could replace the word less with smaller. I could also replace it with what, Annie? No lower than. And I can replace it with what else, everyone? Fewer. We don't have the word tiny anywhere on our sheet. Okay. So last example, Kim has at least $50. So we've got Kim. She's our variable. That is our K. We're still talking about the number 50. And what's our key phrase, everyone? So besides the fact that it's written there and we know that it's greater than or less than, if you don't know at a certain time, okay, put yourself in those shoes. I have at least $50. Could I have more than 50 or less than 50? So if I know it's more than 50, I can put my greater than sign because I have at least, that's the littlest amount that I have is 50. Can I have $50? So if I can have $50, then I add my equal to sign. Any questions? Okay, what I want you guys to do now is we are going to go to the yellow sheet of paper. You guys can keep this pink sheet handy because you might want it if you need it. But with your partner sitting around you at your table, you are going to do problems 7 through 11. You are not worrying about these lines off to the side. Is that understood? Just right. Go. Okay, so we were just writing because I have not taught you anything with the number lines yet. So 23, what did you and your partner say for number 7? Good, hopefully you guys wrote it like that. 10, what did you and your partner say for number 8? So like that? There you go. So hopefully you have it written like I do on the board. 19, what did you and your partner say for number 9? We're on number 9. Okay, guys, I don't need laughing. Very nicely done. But this is also why we really have to learn how to read the signs and not just know, like, the alligator eats the bigger sign. That's gone away. Okay? That phrase has gone away. We have to learn, is it greater than or less than? Got it? All right, number 5. What did you and your partner say for number 10?
N is no. I'm reading the top part.
Okay, well, I need to know, is it a greater than, less than, greater than or equal to, or less than or equal to sign?
N is less than or equal to 9.
Very nicely done. Last one, number 4. What did you and your partner say? Cole, put that away because you're not listening to me.
N is less than 1.
So that?
Less than 1.
Very good. Questions on writing, you guys. Okay. We are now going to go into how to graph. And when I say graph, you're graphing on a number line. Because with inequalities, your answer is no longer just 5. Your answer is no longer just -4. Your answer is less than or equal to -4 or greater than 5. So it's all of the numbers that go along with it. So it's a lot more than just one number. So if we go back up to the top, we have our less than symbol, we have our less than or equal to symbol, our greater than symbol, and our greater than or equal to symbol. When it comes to number lines, 1, if they give it to you, that's easy because you don't have to do anything, right? If they don't give you a number line, you obviously have to create one, right, guys? Here is how you create one. For instance, we have all these lines here, no numbers on them. You have to put numbers on them. I always take whatever number we see here, and I put it in the middle-ish, depending upon how many lines are there, of each number line. So I would put 8 or -8 in the middle. I would put 5 in the middle. -3 in the middle. 14, 7, and -2. All of those would go in the middle. Any questions about that? Then I have to go in and fill in all of the numbers that are around it, making sure that I number my number lines appropriately. So they gave you 3 extra lines on each side. Fill in those numbers for me, please. Go. So hopefully you have all of those numbers correct, because if you don't, unfortunately you would get them wrong just by having the wrong numbers. Are there any questions on numbering a number line? Okay. So once you have made your number line, the next thing you have to do is you have to plot a point on that number line. And that point goes along with whatever number we're talking about. So in number 1, we're talking about a -8. And 2, we're talking about 5. Then -3, then 14. So you put a dot on all of those numbers, but the dots depend upon your inequality symbol. You can either have what's called an open dot. So it's like an open circle. Does everyone see what I'm doing? Or it's a closed dot. Do we see the difference? Okay, so when we look at less than and we look at less than or equal to, one of them is open, one of them is closed. Which one do you think is closed? Raise your hand if you think less than is closed. Raise your hand if you think less than or equal to is closed. Some of you didn't even raise your hand. I don't care which one. Less than. Raise your hand if you think less than is closed. If you think less than or equal to is closed, raise your hand. Guys, I don't care what your opinion is. You're taking a guess, right? It's okay to be wrong? Absolutely, because you haven't been taught it yet. I just wanted to know what you thought. The answer is less than or equal to is closed. So, if you answered neither, then you have no opinion. And that's not okay. You should always have an opinion. Someone who chose less than or equal to, besides the phrase, I don't know, I just guessed, did anyone have a reason for picking that one? If you just guessed, that's totally fine. I have no problem against that. But if you thought like, oh, I think it's this because of X, Y, Z, I want to know. What do you think, Anderson? Absolutely. That's perfect. That's a great explanation. Did you guys all hear him? Okay. When something is equal to, it's closed because that's the end all be all. That's the last, that's the final answer, right? That's what it is. Okay, so that means on number 4, that equal to sign, that means it's closed. So we have a closed circle on 14 because it is equal to. I have equal to 14, it can be 14. Whereas if we're talking about less than, oh, I did the wrong one. If we're talking about less than, this -3 is going to be open because it's not equal to -3. It can go as close to -3 as possible, but it cannot be -3 because it is not equal to -3, which is why it's open, because it's not equal to it. So, greater than, do you think it's open or closed? Greater than is open. So that means number 1 is open. Greater than or equal to, do you think it's open or closed? No, I accidentally did this wrong. 14 is greater than, so that's why that one's closed. And then number 2 is closed because less than or equal to is closed. So anytime there is an equal to line, it's closed. If there is not an equal to line, it's open. Do we see the difference between closed and open? You said not really. What confuses you? I'm literally just talking about the dot. I haven't done anything else. I asked you a question about the circle. Does open and close make sense to you? That's all I'm asking right now. Is does open and close make sense, Jack? Okay, what does it make sense about it? Okay, it's closed because there's an equal to sign with it. Greater than or equal to, less than or equal to, it is closed. Because your answer can be 5. Your answer can be 14. If it's not closed, your answer can't be that number. Does that make sense, everyone? Questions at all? All right, last and final part, we got to draw an arrow. Okay, because my answer is not just -8. It's not just 5. It's not just -3 or 14. it's less than that, it's greater than that. So it's all of the numbers that are less than that number or greater than that number. Okay, so if we look at our less than symbols, which is number 3, if we go to number 3, m is less than -3. Do less than numbers go to the left or do less than numbers go to the right? So less than goes to the left. So that means I'm going to draw an arrow to the left because all of those numbers are less than, all of those numbers are correct. All of those answers can be the same. Same with number 2. It's a less than symbol, so my arrow goes to the left. I also do not care how you draw your arrow as long as you draw an arrow and I can see the direction it is going. Is that understood? So less than and less than or equal to is a left arrow. Bless you. Questions on that at all? What direction do numbers that are greater than go? So that means anytime you see a greater than sign, your numbers will go to the right. Questions on that at all? Five and 7 look a little bit different, right, guys? What do you notice about them? It's the number first, and what did I say has to always come first? So what do you think I have to do? So I can't have 7 and then P. I have to have P first and then 7 second. Variable comes first, number comes last, always. Is that understood? Okay, but if I flip-flop those, if I flip them, what do you think I also have to flip? So instead of it being greater than, it needs to be a, I don't add an equal to or anything like that. I leave it exactly the same. I just got to flip the direction of the sign because that makes a difference for what direction my arrow goes. So I have a less than sign. Do I have an open circle or a closed circle, everyone? We should have an open circle on 7, and should my arrow go to the right or should my arrow go to the left? Guys, there's a lot of talking going on, and class is almost out. I suggest you listen. Why does my arrow go to the left and not the right? Mark? Because we flipped the inequality sign. If you don't flip it, you're going to draw that arrow going right, and then you're going to get it wrong. There's a reason why we flip it. Okay, so what about number 6? Same thing. I have to flip the -2 and the n. Right now, what sign is this? And if it's a less than or equal to, I need to flip it to be a what? So do I have a closed circle or an open circle? And should my arrow go to the right or should my arrow go to the left? Because greater than goes to the right. Questions?